Okay, we'll have a moment of silent meditation to pledge the flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I want to call to order this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission. Let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present. First item on the agenda is consent and approval with our county administrator. Welcome back, Renetta.
Thank you. We have no exonerations to approve. Minutes for January 27th, 2021. Vouchers, General County Fund, $242,120.72. Coal severance, $1,260.88. Magistrate Court, $46.21. Chestnut Ridge Park, $1,327.14. Mason-Dixon Park, $3,929.21. Assessor's valuation, $73.50. Purchasing card vouchers, General County Fund, $4,877.72. Home confinement, $6,513.96. Chestnut Ridge Park, $201.82. Mason-Dixon Park, $39.15. For a voucher total of $260,390.31. Position vacancies for boards and authorities is listed on our website. Fiduciary orders for February 3rd, 2021. Itemization of services for George Armistead, Fiduciary Commissioner. And then you have a separate petition for removal.
Okay.
Move for approval. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, you also have a petition for removal of executor in the estate of James Hugh Wiley.
So I don't know.
Okay. Is there anybody here regarding this estate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You want to come up and
Yeah, that's right.
explain where we're at?
Thank you, members of the commission. May it please the commission. My name is Bader Giggenbach, and I represent the estate of Ann W. Wiley. And here with me today is John Wiley, who is the personal representative of the estate of his mother, Ann Wiley, as well as his counsel, the firm of Slavey and Shoemaker.
Okay.
We had filed a motion to remove Tom Wiley, who currently serves as the personal representative of John and Tom's father's estate, James Hugh Wiley. Now, my client, the estate of Ann W. Wiley, is the sole beneficiary of the estate of her husband, James Hugh Wiley. Tom Wiley has made repeated violations with respect to his statutory duties, and we originally had objected to the estate closure when he attempted to propose a final settlement before this county commission in January of 2019. A hearing was held before a fiduciary commissioner appointed by the county commission in February of 2020, and then that resulted in a recommendation to you later in 2020 that the estate not be closed and that this petition to remove be heard, and that's why we're here today. One of the recommendations that this county commission adopted in December of 2020 with respect to this estate is that the all-important Form 6.02 be filed, which deals with non-probate assets. A couple of minutes before I walked into the courthouse for this hearing, I checked online with Carrie Blaney's website. I see no such filing. And you ordered that to occur within 10 business days of December 30th. To my knowledge, it has yet to occur. I saw a purported Form 6.02 that the counsel for Tom Wiley had sent me, but I don't think it's ever been filed. And even the one that he did provide doesn't have critical information regarding significant assets, well in excess of $1 million. So it's a very serious concern. John Wiley has been an attorney at law, licensed for nearly 40 years. He's asking to serve as the personal representative of his father's estate and that his brother be removed for his multiple breaches of his fiduciary duties and failing to comply with the rules that we're all familiar with respect to estate filings. Ms. Blaney forwarded a notice of this hearing to Mr. Wiley and his attorney. I also forwarded the notice to his attorney a couple of days ago. Maybe it was, today's Wednesday, yes, I think I did it on Monday. I sent it by email. I don't think they're present. Mr. Wise, are you here? Tom Wiley, are you here? So they're a no-show. So we'd ask that this motion and petition to remove Tom Wiley be granted.
Okay, can I ask the commission that we suspend the rules so we can ask
Sure.
questions? Okay.
Sure, absolutely.
I do see when you say purported Form 602, that's not an official action with our clerk. It's something that he shared with you. Is it an unofficial? Because the question is whether he filed the forms, and if he filed the forms, but there still is a mistake with the forms. Can you clarify that for me?
He sent me an email that contained a cover letter, what appears to be a cover letter to Carrie Blaney, asking that it be filed. And I've yet to see the actual filing. But even what was turned over to me by email, it still doesn't contain a non-probate asset that we know is in excess of $1 million because of sworn testimony that Tom Wiley gave in February of 2020 before Beth LeBeau.
I understand.
And I don't know why he's, in my words, hiding that, covering it up. I don't know. I have my suspicions. It's part of a separate civil action that's pending before the circuit court. But the circuit court doesn't have the jurisdiction to remove Tom Wiley from serving as the personal representative. That lies solely with this body.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a quick question. So the non-probate inventory asset form, that's not placed of public record. It's filed with the clerk and only sent to those beneficiaries listed from the estate. So do we know if there has been a filing at all? It wouldn't show up online is my point. Do you know if it's been filed?
I don't know that it's been filed, but I am aware that statutorily they're required to produce it to the beneficiary.
To the beneficiaries under that estate. So I guess the question is, this had to do with an item that wasn't listed or hasn't been listed as an asset of Ann Wiley's estate, correct?
This was, Commissioner Arnett, this was an IRA that James Hugh Wiley had during his lifetime that named his wife, Ann W. Wiley, as sole beneficiary. Shortly before his death, we believe, through the testimony that occurred in February from Tom Wiley, that Tom caused a switch to occur so that instead of his mother receiving the $1 million+, he would take it from his father's estate. That has not been disclosed. That is a non-probate asset of James Hugh Wiley's estate that has not been disclosed on the what I refer to as purported, because it's inaccurate.
Right.
But I see your point. It wouldn't be online. You're right. So I don't know if it's downstairs or not.
But regardless, it was an asset that's never been disclosed as being part of James Wiley's estate, correct?
That's correct.
And so that's the action that's what we had asked to, or the fiduciary commissioner had asked to be produced. And from what we understand, you got some type of email form of it, but it hasn't actually formally been produced to you or to to John Wiley behind you, or?
Well, I turned over my email to John and to John's counsel, but again, it lacks that IRA. That in Tom's own testimony, he said it was over $1 million. And if you look at what Chilton Wise is the attorney, what Mr. Wise turned over to me, it's not listed on that 6.02.
And that was what the order, the fiduciary commissioner had ordered that be brought forward, and it still hasn't been to her as far as you're aware. Also, you've not been provided with that, other than what the email you just talked about.
My understanding is, as of Friday, it was not in the clerk's office, and I think John Wiley can testify to that as well.
And the version that you got that was purportedly going to be filed at the clerk didn't include it.
Does not have the IRA.
And there's no mention of it at all.
No.
And the fiduciary commissioner specifically asked for it. Is that specific item has been brought up in front of?
It was a major part of the testimony, the sworn testimony that occurred at Beth LeBeau's office in February when we heard the objection that we filed to the estate. And that's not the only issue. I mean, he has other multiple breaches, failing to file timely, failing to produce documents. It's laid out in Beth LeBeau's recommendation to this body.
Yeah, I'll be a little more direct.
but here's my question that I'm uncomfortable removing him right at this time. What you said was that she was the beneficiary. I mean, she had she had become the beneficiary from that IRA, you said.
She was.
Then what
She
has
was.
happened, you said for whatever reason, she was removed. So my question is, I see that as where you're going to probably be in court on it, but if she was removed, then that IRA would not be part of her estate.
Well,
I mean, and that's a question I don't know yet.
I'll be glad to answer. I'm not here because I'm trying to do anything on Ann Wiley's estate. I'm here because I'm trying to do something on James Hugh Wiley's estate. That IRA, no matter who the beneficiary was, it
Right.
could be you. It's still a non-probate asset of Mr. Wiley's estate. So it is absolutely within jurisdiction
Yeah,
of this
I was-
body,
I
irrespective.
was mistaken on that part. I was
Okay.
under the understanding that it was for.
That's what I
Ann
thought.
Wiley's
That's where I was,
estate.
okay.
John Wiley's estate, it absolutely has to be listed
Okay.
as a non-probate asset.
Okay,
no
so now
question.
we get to, okay. That's why we're trying to clarify.
Thank you.
Okay.
And our order was for him
Yeah.
to file the proper paperwork, and we have no record that happened.
It wouldn't be made public record if it wasn't, if we don't have anyone from the clerk's office to verify that it was actually filed, and if they haven't received copy, we have no way of knowing right now if it's been filed or not.
Okay, and we had a 10-day deadline, so I think, can we confirm whether it was or whether or not, and then at that point, we'd be able to,
Yeah.
we'd feel more comfortable with moving forward with the petition?
The email that I received from the fiduciary department yesterday at 4:26 says that the conditions that you set forth on December 30th were not met.
Okay, the conditions were to file the proper paperwork. The paperwork doesn't include an item that's in dispute. So that was my question is, though they filed the proper paperwork, it's still wrong. We had, our order was file the proper paperwork. It's still not proper, but
Well, I think Mr. Gigglebock's saying that paperwork hasn't been filed.
Well, I stand corrected to your point, Commissioner Arnett, and that is, it doesn't appear online, but it wouldn't appear online.
Right.
Because it is.
So we don't know.
It's a non-probate asset. 6.02s aren't public.
Right, it just goes to the named beneficiaries.
But to your point, Commissioner Sikora, even if it's downstairs, it's still wrong, and it still didn't comply with the order, based on the email that I have, because it's missing a significant asset.
Yeah, if it's not on there, but we don't know if it's been filed downstairs, we don't know what's on it. But if you got an email from Attorney Wise indicating this is the document we're going to file and it didn't have it on there,
Then
that's the only missing piece of information we have, is not seeing that form which we require that they produce.
And of course, they've received what I filed with respect to the petition removed that John Wiley signed that lays out that very issue specifically. There's been no response.
well, the clerk's office clearly says the conditions have not been met. So what's the will of
But see, that changes, okay, because we were trying to get a clarification. With you being here, now we're able to understand a little bit more of what is going on. I know. I guess my concern is if the clerk is saying that it hasn't been met and we requested it, and it's been since March, basically, of last year, I have no problem. I would be willing to remove him, but I want to make sure we're doing it correctly. And that's a question before I'm...
So would you like to table it until we talk to Fiduciary
For 1
Commissioner
week.
LaBelle
For 1 week.
and our clerk's office?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with the motion as well. If we can verify that
Yeah.
the form hasn't been filed, it doesn't include the IRA, but without that one missing piece of information.
I don't want to make a decision, yeah.
Well, I have sent a message to the fiduciary office to see if in fact the 6.02 had been filed. I haven't received a response. Do you want to table it for now and bring it up later
Yes.
in the meeting?
Yes.
And if we get, that would be fine.
One of you want to make the motion?
Yeah,
Well, I just moved, go ahead.
I'll just make a motion to table this until later in the meeting if we get the information that we're, to verify that information, and then we'll bring it up
Yeah.
at a later agenda item at this.
And then if we don't get it, then we'll table for till next meeting. If we don't get the information in
Yeah,
time.
if we're not able to verify whether or not
Right.
officially it's been filed, then to table it till next week.
Yes, I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get in the next.
Yeah, thank you, Bader. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah, thanks
you.
for the clarification.
And we'll wait, we'll gladly
Yeah.
wait, but I see it as two ways. One, if it's not been filed, that's pretty clear. Two, if it has been filed, I'd like to see what it looks like so that I can verify that what I received
Is
looks like what was put on file, because it still is going to be missing the
Right.
IRA.
And you can understand our
Absolutely.
wanting to make sure
We just want to
that
make
we're
sure,
clear.
yeah, because we don't want to lose it on a technicality because it was
Understood.
sent in.
Very, very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
Hopefully
very
we'll
much.
hear in a little bit.
Thank you, sirs. Okay, next item on the agenda is introduction of new employees' personnel changes. Do we have any?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to the next agenda item, is comments from the public. We'll now open the meeting for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to be heard must raise their hand, come forward, and provide his or her name and address for the record. Please note that time will be limited to 3 minutes unless circumstance warranted additional time as approved by the president. Do we have anybody who wants to talk in public comment session? Okay.
Wait, someone did.
Whoops, I'm sorry. Come on. Well, I know you were here for a
Yeah.
Is that later
work
on the
session,
agenda?
but, huh?
Would that be later on the?
We have a work session meeting at 11, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that what you want to talk about, or?
Oh, wait. Oh,
All right,
yeah,
thanks.
that's, I was just here.
You get more to
this
talk, you
evening.
get to talk longer at the 11 o'clock one.
Right, so 3 minutes I can never talk.
Well, Craig, I knew that
Yeah.
I'd have to adjust for you anyhow. All right. Public session is now closed. Correspondence. We have any correspondence?
I do not.
Colleen? Oh, I'm sorry, did
No.
I skip? Oh. Sorry, let me back up. Colleen Kuhn, grants? None? Okay. Now correspondence.
None.
Okay, none. Moving along quickly here. Unfinished business?
None.
3 in a row. New business. All right, first item is to consider approval for requisition number 37 for the Morgantown Industrial Park Series 2017A Phase 2 Project Fund.
The requisition is for $23,750, and those funds will be paid to MVB Bank and Adrian Enterprises.
Understand that the MVB payment is a commitment fee and Adrian Enterprises is construction management. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item is consideration to approve request to program the lights of the courthouse square blue in honor and memory of Monongalia County Deputy Sheriff Sergeant Michael Todd May on February 18th, 2021.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
This is obviously in honor of Sergeant Michael Todd May, who was killed in the line of duty in February 18th, 2012. So it seems like that's, I can't believe it's been 9 years ago. But, okay, we have a first motion and a second. All those in approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously. All right, consideration of approval of contract with Aqua Pools in response to RFP 2020 MCC M001, rehabilitation of Camp Muffley Pool. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
A second?
Seconded.
Okay, discussion, this item, basically, last meeting, we approved the cost proposal and the ability to go negotiate and enter into a contract with Aqua Pool, so it's kind of already been decided, but here, they sent us the contracts, and now the contract's on the record. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, consideration for approval for release of RFP 2021 MCC 001 to provide Monongalia County with a comprehensive strategic broadband plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
So,
First,
second.
Okay, we have a first and second. I'd like to have discuss this item a little bit. We have a couple individuals from the Monongalia County Broadband Initiative team that are here, if they'd like to speak. Eric, Russ?
Yeah, if I could. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is a great day. this comprehensive RFP is going to be the start of coming up with a plan for Mon County to be able to understand what it's going to take to make broadband service extensive throughout the county. Broadband is the water and sewer of today, and nothing's proven that more than the pandemic. And so I'm excited about this getting out, seeing the proposals coming in, and moving it forward. And I just want to thank all of you and Commissioner Sikora for being leaders to bring this to where we are today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric, did you want to say anything, or you good? I mean, I wanted to point out that as a leader in West Virginia, Monongalia County is seeking to implement a system of broadband provision that is top tier. Our citizens are top tier, and we want to make sure that the county-wide broadband infrastructure is top tier. And just to read a little statement from the RFP that kind of sums up what we're dealing with is Monongalia County is both urban and rural, with rural areas often having very low density development, long driveways, requirement for underground construction, dense tree cover, intensely top vertical topography, in other words, extremely short lines of sight, frequency of steep slopes versus up and down versus amplitude of high mountains. Consequently, it's been difficult to get broadband due to topography, but the topography also poses huge challenges getting students to school during inclement conditions, in which case broadband may be actually ironically be the best answer to the topography issue. To summarize, the rugged beauty is what often attracts people here, but at the same time is what makes it difficult to serve them with reliable broadband. And what we're trying to do is rather than just rush out in a shotgun approach, this RFP is to obtain the services of a consultant that will, with the help of our Broadband Initiative team, develop a comprehensive plan for the whole county that works. What works here in Morgantown doesn't work on the western end. What works on the eastern end, or what works here in Morgantown doesn't work on the eastern end. And like I've said before, nothing's more frustrating than, like in the western end, is not having any service, where in the eastern end you're told you have service and you don't, or if that service just isn't adequate. And even in Morgantown, we do have issues with the service that's supposed to provide a certain level of service, and it doesn't. So we're trying to tackle all that, and through the work of all the Broadband Initiative team, I think we've come up with a really, really good plan to get us there, to get us to the point where we actually have a comprehensive plan, and then we can just check off the different steps of it and attack this in a methodical way, rather than just going out and doing it in a piecemeal approach. So I want to thank all the members of the Broadband Initiative. Eric Carlson has been my right hand from the Morgantown Area Partnership. Russ, obviously your involvement. Bill Austin, MMPO Director. Mike Fortney, Mecca 911. Joe Kloss, Mon County Health Department. Andrew Gass-Bray, our planner. Ron Lytle, Mon County BOE. Mike Paw, Mon County GIS Coordinator. Jeff Welsh, Mon County IT Director. Delegate Joe Statler, Aaron Spork of the Office of Shelley Moore Capito, and Tom, I'm drawing a blank on the individual from Joe Manchin's office. Was it Ryan?
Ryan, okay.
Ryan Thorne.
Ryan Thorne, thank you. Okay.
I was second guessing myself, and I was like,
Yes.
Is there Aaron or Ryan? But we have had representation from Capito's office, from Senator Manchin's office, more on the periphery, but our intent is to have all of them involved.
Yes.
And of course, we have our County Administrator, Renetta McClure, and our County Grants Coordinator and Secretary, Colleen Kuhn. And then we even had a citizen that volunteered and has been very, very helpful. So I think we have a really, really good comprehensive approach. With the Commission's approval, we'll release this thing today. We'll put it out to entities that can spread the word so that we get a really good product, and I'm excited about at least being able to kick it off. So after talking about it for so long, I'm ready to stop talking about it. So having said that, do you guys have anything? Having said that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Do we have any other unfinished business?
New business? No.
I'm sorry, new business?
No other new business, but I did hear back from the estate department.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
if we want to.
Would you like to report on that?
Okay. So Stephanie in the estate department, she said that 6.01 and 6.02 were filed, but unrecordable due to the executor's signature being a color copy.
Okay. And we don't have an answer as far as whether it's comprehensive.
So it's not an original signature on the document, so they can't record it. That's how I would interpret that.
Suspend the rules again. Maybe
Okay.
I think has something to address to that.
Second, so approved,
If
yeah.
I may, I can show you what is most likely downstairs and establish that it does not have the IRA, so even if it could be corrected with the signature,
Tell them to bring
he still didn't comply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
May I
then
approach?
Yes,
Beth Le-
please, yeah.
the fiduciary commissioner, Beth LeBeau, said that 6.02 is incomplete. So she's
Oh.
also saying that 6.02 is incomplete.
Okay. Can they, I guess what we'd like to know is, can they clarify if this IRA is listed? Is that something they could?
Would it be easiest if we just moved to reconvene for 15 minutes and go see what's in the document? I mean, then you don't have to wait and come back another week.
Okay, yeah.
What Chilton sent to me, which is probably what's downstairs. I mean, there's a cover letter to the clerk.
What's the date on the document?
17th.
The 17th of January?
And I think it's US mail. I think Chilton's letter at the end, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, that's dated January 14th.
14.
Amended forms filed. There's no IRA listed as an asset of that estate.
Now, did you say the last was the 18th or the 14th when the letter? Is this the that's why I'm asking the
I don't know. We don't have the actual documents
Right.
from the fiduciary department, so I can't verify that what she's talking about is the document that you have in front of you.
I am more than willing to reconvene for 15 minutes and come back in 15 minutes. If you could go down and just check and just see, then that resolves our
Yeah,
problem.
just keep that because I'm sure it's the same.
Is that fine?
I have a motion to recess. Do I have
Yeah,
a second?
Second.
Okay, first and a second. All those in favor to recess for 10 minutes until we
Yeah.
can.
And take, thank you. Then we'll know.
Yes, thank you. That makes
Then
sense.
there's no reason for you to come back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. You know what you're looking for. Tell them.
I need a motion to come out
Yeah.
of recess.
I move to come out of recess.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're out of recess. Okay, so we took a recess to discuss this fiduciary item. What's the will of the commission?
I went downstairs and talked to the probate clerk, and the document that was filed with the clerk is consistent with what Attorney Gegenbach provided to us. It does not have any mention of this IRA on it. However, in reviewing the recommendations from Fiduciary Commissioner LeBeau, it was threefold: to reject the final settlement, which I believe we already did, as you can't have a final settlement until both inventory forms have been considered. And while the document has been filed downstairs, it technically hasn't been filed because there was a problem with the absence of a live signature. It appears to be a computer signature, which is not acceptable for recording standards. And then there was a delay in the check, and so it was, whether or not it was filed within the 10 days is sort of a gray area because the clerk's office was closed for 2 weeks, but the letter that Mr. Gegenbach provided to us did say that it was just late dated last Friday.
We would waive the 10-day requirement. That's not the issue. I mean, with COVID and everything, I wouldn't
Right.
hold Chilton
Right.
wise his feet to the fire on that. The issue is that Roman numeral 2 was violated because it doesn't contain the IRA.
Well,
So 2's been violated. We're here today on a pending motion to remove. They didn't even come to the hearing. The hearing is today to remove the executor, Roman numeral 3, and they refused to come. So we request that the removal be granted today.
Providing all those. The only question I have then, Mr. Gingbach, is that Fiduciary Commissioner LaBalle's order asks that it be filed, and that without the motion to remove executor was largely based upon the failure to file, but also I understand secondarily because there'd been no mention at this point of that IRA being included. My only concern is that Commissioner LaBalle hasn't had the opportunity to review the 602
And provide a recommendation.
and provide a recommendation as to whether it's sufficient in her mind or not.
I wrote to Tom Wiley 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, December of 2018, certified letter. Tom, please give us the 6.02 information. Tom, please give us the IRA. I've been doing that with him and with Chilton Wise for over 3 years. It almost feels like it's never going to stop. We need John Wiley to be the appointed executor or administrator so that we can go and try to find out what's going on with this misadministration of this estate. I read Roman numeral 3 as today was the hearing. Mr. Wise was aware of it, should have made his client aware of it, and they don't show. They don't show because they don't have a defense. But we'll do it again. Give them another chance and keep kicking this down the road. It gets frustrating, and I understand you need to do what you need to do, but they're never going to turn it over.
I understand.
So, cut it short. The matter was to be heard today. It's been heard. You verified that the IRA is not on there. They violated 2, they violated 3 of your clear recommendation, not recommendation, your order from her recommendation. So I think the matter's been heard. They had an opportunity to be here, chose not to be here. I think you have full authority to grant our request today. And I would request there be no further delay.
How does the number 2, could you read the second one? And that's the question. That's the problem, the
Number
wording.
2 indicates that required James T. Wiley to carry out his statutory and lawful duties include filing an accurate Form 602 and providing all documentation and information the estate of Ann Wiley is entitled to within 10 days. The problem I would have with the actions that have been carried out since this was ordered was that it does state an accurate Form 602. It was clearly brought up in the motion that the IRA was to be included. The document that I verified was filed downstairs, does not include said IRA.
So 2 was violated, unquestionably.
Yeah. Well, my question is, and the way the procedure has always been, we've always gone with the recommendation of the fiduciary agent. Since this information, whether it's done correctly or not, was filed, I would assume what we've always done then is let the fiduciary agent look at that, make a recommendation, and then next Wednesday we would then make a decision on it. I'm afraid, and what President Sikora was saying was if we made a decision, technically it was filed. Now, was it filed correctly or not is not for us. That's what the fiduciary agent makes the recommendation to us. That's my grayish area that I'm concerned
So is that
about.
a motion to table?
I would like to table it till next week to make a decision so the fiduciary agent can make a recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Just to
Sure. Amend it.
if we could amend the motion just a second, to have Commissioner LaBalle specifically address
Yes.
Roman numeral 2 as to whether or not, A, the filing was done within her recommendation of 10 days, if that's considered, and B, whether or not the form that was filed was accurate.
Accepted. As amended.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those, just for discussion points, Mr. Bader
Get him.
and the people in the that are represented that are in the
Slayton.
crowd. I apologize on behalf of the county. It's not acceptable that this is just brought to our attention on a Tuesday afternoon when we meet on Wednesday. So it really is hard from my seat to make decisions. I mean, we have to be fair to all parties. And it's really hard to make decisions when you only have part of the information. Now, yes, you're right, the other side didn't choose to be here. But just the hurried nature of it, and again, not on your part, you've been living this for years, just the nature of when it's brought to our attention and when we have an action is just not acceptable to me. So it's not really, I don't feel as as uncomfortable about moving forward. I feel that, just time, given enough time to properly review any action that comes before this commission. And I just think, an afternoon where if one of us didn't look at our email, we wouldn't be aware of it till 10 o'clock this morning, isn't acceptable. So we'll work on, I apologize on the county's behalf, and we'll work on that communication process and how we deal with it, because that's not your problem. We're here to serve you. I do just sincerely apologize for any delay, but I think a delay of a week for us to talk to our fiduciary commissioner, to get her solid recommendation, and then to bring this up on next week's meeting, I think makes me feel a little more comfortable, and I think it is doing the whole process a better service than making what I would consider to be a rash decision. So.
And the reason why I say that is, without mentioning the name of another case where we did exactly what happened here, the judge threw it back saying that the other side did not have the right, even though they didn't show up, to explain it. So I don't want to use that technicality against this situation. So that's why I'm requesting the one more week.
And I would add, just for clarification, in my mind, the hay's in the barn, so to speak. I'm not necessarily interested. I know it's been filed downstairs. I've seen it. So in order to comply with the order and put before us, what's been filed should be what we're not saying necessarily we're going to receive new evidence. I think
Right.
the evidence has been submitted to us.
Yeah.
Or rather, what was attempted to be filed. because-
Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I don't take, again, the 10 days, I'm not worried about.
What,
In
7?
the day and age that we're in,
Yeah.
the post office, I've had so many letters to get there on time since Christmas, it's ridiculous. So I don't fault that for Mr. Wise. But I think the question presented to the fiduciary commissioner is, does the attempted 6.02 contain the IRA?
Right.
And I think
Right.
the clerk's office has already answered it, and I think we all know that, but I understand if you want to get that extra step from Beth.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's approved unanimously.
We'll see you
Thanks
next week.
again. and-
Thank you for your understanding.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is reports from elected officials and/or department supervisors.
They all left.
Okay, reports from county commissioners. Tom?
Yeah, just real quickly, and I know I would say this, and all the other two county commissioners understand, we are going through a trying time where we're combining the vaccines that the people have sent into WVU Hospital, Mon Health, and the Health Department, and we've collected that data, and we're combining it with Everbridge. So I'm asking that the citizens please have patience. We are going through this process. We are clearly better than most other places, and after talking to Greene County, people do not realize how well we are really doing. And I want to thank everyone for their understanding, and we will be getting through this process, and hopefully in the next several weeks it looks like there's going to be a lot more vaccines available. The only other thing I want to say is I'm very excited that the county commissioners will be attending a meeting on Friday over at Ramada Inn, and we will be meeting with the national representatives from the Salvation Army and to discuss the Ramada Inn and the future, and very excited about that. That's it.
Jeff?
Just to add to the Ramada Inn, Sean and Tom and I had the opportunity to tour that facility last week, and it really can't be said how amazing the work they're doing up there. March Weston has been knocking it out of the park, and Ron Justice overseeing the project, and it really is going to be something for our community to be proud of, and something that we can hold up to the state on. This is the way we do things, and we like to be. In my limited time here, I've noticed that we kind of take the ball and run with it as far as being the leaders in the state and showing what can be done when you work together. The number of groups that are working together on that project is truly remarkable, and I look forward to being part of it.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Since the last meeting, last Thursday, we did go up and have an initial tour of the Ramada Inn property, and then I had my Board of Health meeting. Friday, I had a JUMA operations discussion. That's in regards to the Aquatic and Track Center, and then we had staff reports and had another JUMA follow-up and broadband initiative where we worked on finalizing our RFP. Monday was the opening of our Board of Review and Equalization meetings. So we gavelled in and gavelled out because we didn't have any appointments that day. Yesterday I had another Juma call, and then today's a regular day. Tomorrow I have a MAP Executive Committee meeting in the morning, and then we have a BRE hearing. Friday staff reports, and then the Ramada Inn meeting that Tom and Commissioner Bloom and Commissioner Arnett were speaking of. So I'm looking forward to meeting with that group up there. On Monday I have the Airport Commerce Park financing discussion, and Tuesday more BRE meetings. In general, I want to thank everybody that already left, but I want to thank everybody for their work on the broadband initiative. It's really probably one of the most complicated procurements I've ever done, just in its complexity, but I really think that it's going to reap a lot of rewards as we go into implementation and execution. So, and again, also, we do appreciate everybody's patience with the vaccine rollout. We sent a letter out to our county offices last week telling them that, listen, we are keeping a list, and we had your name was on a list for as part of critical government infrastructure, but we don't believe that the government's going to allocate any vaccines for the direct critical government infrastructure, so please go out and register yourself as an individual. And that's what I would encourage everybody to do. Go register themselves in the Everbridge system as an individual. And I do want, the county clerk isn't here, but I want to shout out to her. Last week, as we were talking about, her and I were talking about the letter I sent that, says, hey, just everybody go out and register yourself. And we're still going to push the state to try to, at the same time, try to combat or address critical government infrastructure, because we've noticed with some of these snowstorms that the reason we couldn't get people out and plow is because they were out due to COVID. And if the government would have followed the critical government infrastructure plan that was originally put out, those people would have all been vaccinated and been in their trucks holding the road. So there are real concepts. Now, I completely agree with the government's, the state's decision to keep it just completely age-based now that they've gotten through most of their phasing, with first responders. But people just need to be patient. But I was talking to the clerk, and she had referenced that she was frustrated that she couldn't get her 93-year-old dad vaccinated, and I was like, wait a minute, those are one of the ones when I'm getting a lot of requests from people that are in that category that for one reason or another have fallen through the cracks. But I want, Carrie could have used her position at any time to have said something to Dr. Smith, but I guess, that's the way she is. She didn't bring up a personal issue and raise it with the health department, so I raised it for her because those individuals, we should be in the 70s now, and we shouldn't have any 80-year-olds or any 90-year-olds that want vaccination that haven't been vaccinated. So anyhow, having said that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
We be gone.